What if your children never saw an elephant or a tiger or a coral reef except in old photographs and films? And this is not some dystopian novel. It's a real possibility if not for the work of groups like WWF. The World Wildlife Fund is an international nonprofit organization that for over 60 years has worked to conserve nature and attack the most pressing threats to biodiversity. Learning about the structure and policies at WWF can provide some insight on how organized efforts to create an environmental protection bubble happen and how we might become involved. As an individual who's done research on WWF's international efforts and environmental policy in my studies, I'm ready to tell you how this organization operates and why the details of that model are so crucial. Okay, so I'm going to walk through the organizational structure and organizing principle of WWF so that you can see how we generate and deploy the force that we do to defend the planet's most threatened ecosystems. To do this, we first examine the structure and operations of WWF. Second, we consider the policy and strategic priorities for the WWF. And third, we discuss these strategies within the context of implications for conservation action and public engagement. Now let's look at the first mission miracle. So now that we know that what WWF is and why it's important, let's break down how the organization functions in order to establish and effect its mission on a global level. WWF is a decentralized yet collective organization around the world. The group runs over 100 WWF offices and in more than 80 countries, and also participates in running several international organizations as of 2016/2017 in partnership with autonomous, but independent affiliates in 20 countries that have, however, distributed them worldwide through the network of WWF International based in Switzerland. WWF's house is designed this way so that it can customize its work according to local context, all are remaining committed to one shared mission. This structure helps to explain how international nonprofit organizations can at once be flexible and coherent. Having looked at how WWF is constituted, it's time to move on to the related policies which shape its decision-making and conservation program. WWF works towards the specific goals of conservation strategy with a set core policies and goals. Climate, food, forest, freshwater, oceans, and wildlife are WWF's 6 priority areas, and everything it does fits within these. It also advocates the establishment of science-based targets and partners within both governments and corporations to combat environmental damage. These policies are a framework to underline that WWF will take action based on the evidence and deliver it at scale and in a consistent manner across continents. This validates the argument by revealing the ways in which policy frameworks provide for accountability and trackable progress. We've seen some of the structure to WWF and what leads to policies. So now let's examine how this influences conservation practices and public engagement. WWF-oriented policies impact the global state of conservation and public involvement. WWF's collaborations have resulted in real accomplishments, including doubling the number of wild tigers in Nepal and creating marine protected areas in the Arctic. Their approaches of engaging local communities is something that makes them sustainable. These results show that organization and policy matter. For those of us who worry about the planet, WWF's success illustrates how organized efforts can make a big difference. Finally, let's take a look at the ways in which WWF structure and policies position it as an environmental leader. The organizational mechanisms and operational procedures of the WWF embodies a political logic that makes it an extremely effective and efficient global conservation network. We started by discussing how WWF's structure allows it to work globally and locally. And second, we analyzed the guiding policies that emphasize specific science-based targets. Third, we demonstrated how this mix results in tangible conservation achievement and public engagement. As protectors of the planet, we can learn much from WWF, not just about the salvation of wildlife, but also about how clear structure and policy can help deliver a better future for all living creatures. Yeah, that's it. I appreciate you for listening to my speech. I'm Amari Bedford, and yes, let's go wildlife.